During class, Masachika sits quietly by the window, detached from the chatter around him. Alya takes a seat nearby, her presence a quiet comfort. Occasionally, she leans over to pass notes or assist him with his assignments. Her voice is calm but carries subtle teasing, like when she quietly scolds him for daydreaming in Japanese, then mutters under her breath in Russian, "You always act so detached, but I like it." Masachika notices her words, a faint smile tugging at his lips though no one else sees it. Outside of class, small interactions reveal the bond between them. During lunch, Alia sits beside him, subtly observing the way he eats, the gestures he makes, and the small reactions that hint at his hidden feelings. She teases him lightly, pretending annoyance when he pushes food away or ignores her advice, but her eyes betray care. In a quiet moment, she murmurs in Russian, "I'll always be here no matter what happens." Masachika hears her and simply nods, his calm demeanor hiding the appreciation he feels. Back in the classroom, Masachika's isolation contrasts sharply with Alia's composed presence. When the teacher assigns group work, Alia ensures that he's partnered in a way that allows him to participate safely, keeping him involved without exposing him to harm. The next morning, Masachika wakes up early. The sunlight softly filters through his window, casting a warm glow across his room. He stretches and gets out of bed, ready to start the new day at Sari Academy. Alya asks him for help. She is seated and requests that Masachika help her put on a sock. Masachika carefully reaches down to assist her. As he tries to slide the sock onto her foot, his hand accidentally brushes against her body. Startled and defensive, Alya kicks him hard with her leg. The impact makes Masachika stumble backward and faint from the shock. Masachika is completely shocked. Alya's sudden and forceful reaction leaves him stunned and disoriented. After returning to class, Masachika notices that Alya seems upset and is avoiding him. Once the class ends, Masachika quickly walks down the hallway and catches up to her. "Alya, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to touch you like that." Alya pauses and looks at him. "It's okay, just be careful next time," she replies softly. Then, after a moment, she told him, "I'm sorry I kicked you, I hope you're okay now." Masachika looks at her and says, "I'm fine. Thank you," he says quietly, feeling relieved that things are okay between them. In the next day, Masachika, Alya, and Yuki working together in the school storage room. They are sorting and organizing supplies, but the task quickly turns into a comedy of errors. Strange items confuse them, and Yuki's playful attitude lightens the mood, while Alya stays calm and focused. Masachika finds himself caught between Alya's sharp comments and Yuki's teasing personality. Later, the student council president, Tauya, appears and compliments Masachika for his efforts. She then invites him to join the student council. Masachika politely declines, not wanting the responsibility. However, he soon learns that Alya has decided to run in the upcoming student council elections. This surprises him, and he begins to wonder what her real goals are. In the evening, Tauya invites Masachika, Alya, and Yuki out for dinner. The atmosphere is casual at first, but the conversation shifts toward Alya's campaign. Tauya suggests that Masachika should support her. Alya doesn't say much, but her glance toward Masachika shows that she expects him to stand by her side. When Masachika returns home, Yuki greets him warmly. Their interactions reveal a hidden truth. Yuki isn't just a childhood friend, but actually his younger sister. She teases him constantly, adding humor and chaos to his life. While Alya doesn't know this secret yet, it becomes clear that Masachika's daily life is growing more complicated, caught between Alya's ambitions, Yuki's mischief, and his own quiet personality. Alya asks Masachika to go shopping with her for new clothes. Masachika agrees, and they head together to a clothing store. When they arrive, Alya tells him to wait outside while she tries on the new outfit. She wants his opinion afterward. Inside the fitting room, Alya suddenly feels uneasy. She worries that Masachika might try to peek at her. She quickly shouts from inside, telling him to stand further away. Masachika steps back and Alya takes off her clothes. She puts on the new dress and then comes out to show him. Masachika looks at her and says, "You look stunning, that dress suits you perfectly." Alya blushes and asks shyly, "Really?" Masachika nods and replies, "Yes, you look like an angel from heaven." Embarrassed, Alya quickly goes back into the fitting room. Inside, she is overwhelmed. She presses her hands against the floor and whispers to herself, "He said I'm beautiful, he really said I'm beautiful." Excited, she decides to try on more outfits, each time walking out to show Masachika. Masachika gives her another compliment, telling her how beautiful she looks no matter what she wears. Alya casually mentions her determination to win the election. Masachika, as always, replies with dry humor, but deep inside he feels the weight of her words. Their quiet bond continues to grow, setting the stage for the challenges ahead. Alya returns home where her older sister, Maria, greets her warmly and jokingly asks her to call her one Chan, which Alya quickly refuses. Maria notices that something is bothering her and asks about her day, so Alya mentions running into Masachika and his childhood friend. Maria immediately teases her, pointing out how flustered she gets whenever it's about him, but Alya denies having any romantic interest. Still, Maria can't help but ask how someone like Alya, who usually dislikes indifferent slackers, could have become friends with a person like Masachika. This question makes Alya think back to her childhood in Russia. She remembers a group project where she was supposed to work with her classmates researching local businesses. Alya took the task seriously, but her teammates were lazy and contributed nothing. When she confronted them, they still refused to do their share, and in the end their group lost. The failure left her bitter, and she decided never to rely on anyone else again. Years later, after passing a difficult exam, she transferred to a prestigious school in Japan. There she met Masachika, whose lazy attitude annoyed her from the start. During preparations for the school festival, Alya noticed her classmates complaining and avoiding responsibility, which reminded her of her past in Russia. Determined not to let things fall apart, she took on most of the work herself. To her surprise, Masachika suddenly began working hard, helping her in ways she didn't expect, making connections, rallying classmates, and lessening her burden. When he told her the festival should be a group effort instead of one person's struggle, Alya, tired and overwhelmed, couldn't hold back her tears. Masachika recognized how hard she had worked and gently told her to go home and rest. The next night, with morale restored, the school allowed them to work overnight and plans for a bonfire and dance were made. Alya and Masachika ended up talking alone. He joked about her new nickname, the Ice Princess, which she found irritating, and when she thanked him for helping, she admitted her mistake and apologized. She offered to give him something in return, and he asked if he could call her Alya, pointing out that it was a special family nickname. Though surprised, she agreed that he could be the only one at school to use it. When a group of boys came to ask her to dance, Masachika boldly took her hand instead. The following morning in class, Alya quietly whispered in Russian that she thought he looked cool the night before, showing a softer side she normally hid. After recalling this story, Alya finishes telling it to her sister, but Maria continues teasing her, calling it a typical friends to lovers situation. Alya insists it isn't, though Maria isn't convinced. Later, Talia asks Masachika to cover some of Yuki's student council duties, and during this he meets Maria for the first time. She freezes for a second when hearing his name, almost as if she recognizes it, but quickly brushes it off and takes him shopping for council business. While they are out, something about the conversation reminds Masachika of his parents' divorce. Maria, noticing his mood, suddenly gives him a warm hug that feels strangely familiar to him. The tender moment is cut short when she accidentally spills hot tea on him, leading to flustered apologies. After returning from an errand, Talia thanks Masachika for helping with supplies and tries again to persuade him to join the student council. Masachika refuses, saying he was in the council in middle school for a selfish reason and feels unworthy now. Talia tells him that motivations don't have to be noble to be valid. He himself once sought office for personal reasons, and that Masachika would be welcome even if he joined for someone else. Alya is assigned by the council to mediate a dispute between the baseball and soccer clubs over use of the school field. She takes the job seriously and runs the meeting herself, but the argument escalates. Each side digs in and the discussion becomes a stalemate. As the pressure mounts, Alya begins to doubt whether she can handle the role she's aiming for. She starts to regret the times she's looked down on others for not keeping up with her. In a moment of desperation, cornered and emotionally overwhelmed, Masachika, who had been nearby, hears Alya's cry and steps into the situation. He proposes a practical compromise: have the soccer club managers assist with relocating the baseball team's equipment and coordinate a schedule so both teams can use the field fairly. While helping implement the solution, Masachika casually reveals a personal detail: the soccer club's manager is dating the baseball captain, which explains why the manager was so motivated to accept the arrangement. and that detail helps smooth tensions. His calm, pragmatic intervention breaks the deadlock and gets both sides to agree to cooperate. After the dispute is settled, Alya reports the successful mediation back to Talia. Moved by how Masachika stepped up and despite his earlier reluctance, Masachika finally agrees to join the student council, admitting essentially that he'll accept being guided and even manipulated into it if it helps. On the walk home, Alya asks if he's joining to be Yuki's running mate, but Masachika surprises her. He says his aim is to help Alya win the election. Overcome, Alya accepts his help and in an instant of raw emotion blurts out "I love you" in Russian. The confession takes Masachika by surprise. A flash of memory of another Russian girl from his childhood crosses his mind, ruining the perfect moment, so Alya slaps him for thinking of someone else, then immediately forgives him and impulsively kisses him on the cheek. Masachika is left confused about what the exchange really meant. Masachika heads home, replaying Alya's Russian confession in his mind. He wonders if it was just a flustered slip or something more. At home, he's surprised to find Yuki spending the night. She accidentally walks in naked, her odd apology for pressuring him into student council, but despite her teasing, she quickly pivots to ask if he's genuinely supporting Alya. When he confirms, Yuki sarcastically complains that he only likes Alya because of her bigger chest, but deep down she admits she's relieved he's found someone who motivates him. The next day, Yuki hides under Masachika's bed to wake him up, fulfilling a promise, but she ends up struggling to get out. At school, Alya instantly notices a difference. Masachika shows up alert and attentive instead of his usual sleepy mood. In PE class of volleyball, Alya hits lands squarely on Masachika, leading to a soft interaction. She apologizes, he for once not groggy, explains he just skipped breakfast. Seeing him so alert while she had insomnia stings her, she cools off on him. Later, they head to the student council room together, only to find members of the baseball and soccer clubs running away in fear. Inside, Chisaki appears wielding a bamboo sword, intimidating. Amid the tension, Alya and Masachika enter the council meeting. Masachika is unexpectedly appointed General Affairs Officer, but he declares his real goal: "I'm here to make Alya the next president." Masachika is getting a handle on his new role. Masha offers tea, and they bond over a brief casual conversation until Yuki and Alya reappear. Alya, uneasy, chooses to sit right next to Masachika rather than at the corner of the table. Masha teases her that it's bad luck for unmarried people to sit in corners, implying Alya might want to get married someday. A simple moment loaded with significance. Later, Masachika invites Alya to a family restaurant, ostensibly to strategize for her campaign. He assures her that he and Yuki aren't dating and that Yuki can be surprisingly unpredictable. Then they launch into serious campaign talk. Masachika suggests she build sympathy among voters like Talia did. Jealousy and longing tug at Alya as she imagines them sitting together alone, and she nervously stages an indirect kiss by feeding him ice cream with a spoon. The moment is adorable and intimate and exactly what the title promises. But when she tries a spicy bite, she spills the moment in pain, and he orders her a new spoon. Small, spicy chaos. As they leave the restaurant, they talk about Yuki's running mate, but Alya notices a new name might be about to enter the picture. Masachika settles into his role on the student council, now working closely with new member Ayano Kimishima. In a quiet moment, Ayano meets him one-on-one. She confirms that Masachika is partnering with Alya in the upcoming student council election. She reveals that the head of the Su family, Yuki's family, is displeased that he chose to support Alya over Yuki. Masachika, unflinching, replies, "The Su family's issue has nothing to do with me." Ayano admits she was sent to assess Alya as a threat, but Masachika reassures her that his allegiance is based on a promise, and his feelings for Yuki remain unchanged. Back in class, Takeishi shows off a magazine with attractive girls to Masachika and asks who he likes. Hikaru teases that one of the girls resembles Masha. When Alya overhears, she makes derogatory comments in Russian. As the teasing continues, Alya becomes visibly hurt, so Masachika steps in and shuts it down. He also reacts strongly when the conversation turns to beauty over character, frustrating Takeishi enough that Alya confiscates the magazine. Meanwhile, Ayano reports back to Yuki. Yuki realizes how sincere Masachika's support for Alya is, and Ayano's own excitement about serving him makes Yuki worry whether Ayano might harbor deeper feelings for Masachika. Ayano reassures that she remains loyal as a servant, though her enthusiasm for Masachika's decision shocks Yuki internally. Later, the student council throws a welcome party for Masachika and Ayano. Yuki and Alya are quietly playing cards while Ayano serves them tea. Masha brings in more tea, and she shares a moment with Masachika at the vending machine. Masha praises how well Alya is doing and jokes that Masachika's slacker persona is just an act hiding his real potential. Masachika admits it's true, deep down he's capable, even if he doesn't show it. On another day, Sayaka from the Public Morals Committee confronts Alya, accusing her of stealing Masachika from Yuki in their political rivalry. Masachika intervenes, stating firmly that he chose to run with Alya. Sayaka challenges him and Alya to a student council debate, but Alya insists he must face it alongside her. The confrontation ends with the challenge accepted, setting up the next intense showdown. That evening, Alya and Masachika sit together preparing strategies. Alya suddenly asks if Sayaka truly dislikes her. Masachika explains that Sayaka doesn't hate her but rather doubts whether he is genuinely supporting Alya instead of Yuki. This answer makes Alya even more resolved to win. The next morning, before the debate, they encounter Nanoa Miyami, Sayaka's childhood friend, who greets them with a warm smile. Despite her popularity and hidden sharpness, Alya and Masachika stay focused on what lies ahead. When the assembly gathers, Alya feels the weight of all eyes on her, memories of being ignored in the past rushing back. Just as her confidence falters, Masachika leans close and whispers something outrageous about her figure, making her blush. His strange timing breaks her anxiety, reminding her that her battle isn't against Sayaka but against the self-doubt inside her. The debate begins. Sayaka argues that teacher oversight preserves the quality of the council. Alya responds firmly, saying that it strips students of their independence. The audience starts nodding in agreement with her words, but then Nanoa stirs the crowd, pointing out Alya's foreign roots to sway opinion. Alya hesitates until Masachika steps forward. With calm conviction, he declares that Alya was chosen under the current system without interference and that the council must remain in the hands of students. Sayaka falters, unable to fight back, and finally runs out in tears. Alya follows her, leaving the audience in stunned silence. Nanoa quietly concedes defeat. The debate ends with Alya and Masachika victorious. Later, Sayaka recalls how in middle school she admired Masachika and Yuki as the perfect pair. His decision to support Alya instead felt like betrayal. When Alya finds her, Sayaka admits her jealousy. Alya answers honestly, she still doesn't fully know why Masachika chose her, but she intends to prove she's worthy of his trust. Finally, as the hall empties, Alya asks Masachika why he chose her over Yuki. He explains that with Yuki it was guilt, but with her it was choice, because he genuinely wants to stand by her side. Alya blushes, whispering in Russian that she chose him too because of his kindness. With a shy smile, she admits he nailed it, sealing their bond even deeper. After the victory in the debate, excitement fills the student council, with many students starting to talk about Alya and Masachika as a strong pair. Still, Alya feels uneasy. She notices that some students mock Sayaka after her defeat and it bothers her. She shares her concern with Masachika and he decides to handle it in his own way. Quietly, he asks Sayaka's childhood friend Nanoa to spread a small rumor that explains Sayaka's sudden exit during the debate, protecting her reputation among the students. Meanwhile, the story shifts into a lighthearted and comedic tone. Masachika, Alya, Yuki, and Ayano come across a strange book about hypnosis. Out of curiosity, they start experimenting with it, and things quickly spiral out of control. The situation becomes dangerously embarrassing when both Alya and her older sister Masha end up influenced by the hypnosis, unconsciously beginning to remove their clothes. Masachika and Yuki panic, trying to stop them before it goes too far. Just as the scene reaches chaos, Chisaki barges in and manages to snap them out of it. Furious at what she thinks she saw, she turns her frustration toward Masachika, making the whole incident end in laughter, confusion, and a bit of trouble for him. Sooner does he open his eyes than he realizes he's caught a cold. Later that day, Alya appears outside his apartment, concern in her eyes. Yuki must have told her he was sick and she's come to nurse him. He's surprised, but also oddly comforted as she makes him warm porridge, her presence soothing. He drifts back to sleep. When he resurfaces, it's nearly noon. Somehow, Yuki has slipped him sleep-inducing cold medicine. At the door, Ayano stands awkwardly in a maid uniform, confesses she was instructed by Yuki to help with his care. Alya heads home gracefully, leaving Masachika to mull over exactly how far Yuki is willing to go. Meanwhile, Alya must face the school's midday broadcast alone. Invited as a guest, she steps into the studio without Masachika's support. The pressure shows in her voice, and in a cruel twist, Yuki introduces Alya on air by mentioning Masachika, calling him her genius older brother, hinting that he's gone a slip that emotionally destabilizes Alya. The broadcast becomes a struggle. She delivers poorly and exits devastated, her confidence shattered. When she returns, Masachika is waiting. He pieces together Yuki's manipulative plan, send Alya out emotionally off balance, but instead of getting angry, he smirks, admitting a strange attraction to how she was outplayed. Alya, still shaken, repeats Yuki's words about becoming president to fulfill her family's wishes. Gently, Masachika reminds her, even if your reason doesn't sound noble, you're captivating just the way you are. Just then, Nanoa and Sayaka arrive, coming to apologize for planting shills at the student congress. Sayaka thanks Alya for not responding during the broadcast and wants to step down from the race, but Masachika stops her, asking that she hold off on any withdrawals. Instead, he proposes she repay Alya by helping her heartfelt right in public. A quiet truce forms. The closing ceremony begins, marking the final chance for each candidate to stand before the students. Backstage, Alya rehearses her lines, her heart pounding with nerves. Doubt clouds her mind. Can she really deliver with confidence? Masachika steps in quietly. Without saying much, he gives her a calm nod, a small gesture that steadies her. He whispers a simple trick he uses to connect with people in moments like this, giving her the push she needs. The stage lights flare and Yuki takes the podium first. With confidence and elegance, she presents her vision, promising to listen to every student through the suggestion box and painting a picture of events and improvements to come. Ayano follows right after, backing Yuki with composure and conviction. Then it's Alya's turn. She opens with something unexpected, a few words in Russian. The room stirs, caught off guard. Just as Masachika advised, the surprise breaks the tension. Alya chuckles softly, then repeats in Japanese. Her voice trembles at first, but she steadies herself. She admits her lack of experience, but vows to work harder than anyone, asking the audience to watch as she grows into the president they deserve. The applause that follows is warm, genuine, and strong. Masachika steps forward next. He reminds the students of his past as vice president, lending credibility to Alya's campaign. With a playful smile, he calls himself not very smart, earning laughter from the crowd. But then he shifts, speaking from the heart about Alya's sincerity and strength. At that moment, Sayaka and Nanoa join him on stage, showing their support and sealing the unity of the team. The audience erupts in cheers. When it's over, Yuki, though frustrated, accepts the result. She admits her loss with grace, recognizing Alya's victory. Later, Masachika checks his exam results. He misses his target, ranking 33rd instead of the top 30. He laughs it off and in a tender moment suggests to Alya that they finally call each other by their first names. Flustered, she agrees. Their shy exchange leaves both of them blushing. As they step outside into the summer air, Masachika gathers his courage. With a quiet smile, he asks Alya to spend the summer together, preparing for what's to come. Her eyes shine, and with a radiant smile, she agrees. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.